and you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm excited to join this subcommittee for the first time, and thank you to the ranking member as well. Thank you to our witnesses for now many hours of your time this morning. I proudly represent the Hudson Valley region, which is north of New York City. A significant amount of railroad traffic, both freight and passenger, including 123 miles of CSX-run freight on the west side of the Hudson River. Many areas and crossings specifically in my district, as has been discussed, desperately need safety enhancements and investment and redesigns, from traffic signal upgrades to prevent congestion backups, roadway redesigns, and enhanced warning systems, even basic signage, which we're lacking at many of these crossings. For example, the town of Saugerties in my district, which is an entirely ungated crossing, lacks any warning lights, and in 2017, a constituent riding in a taxi was killed when her taxi driver missed a stop sign and drove right into the path of an oncoming train. A simple fix like warning signage would have helped avoid this tragic incident. CSX operates, as I said, trains throughout many densely populated urban areas in my district, including the city of Kingston, my hometown, which has 35 on average freight trains a day running through the heart of a pretty busy city, carrying a lot of things, but including waste, petroleum, industrial chemicals, and other potentially harmful substances. We greatly appreciate the role CSX plays in our economy, as has been discussed here, but it's been a repeated point of challenge. I was also in county government, like my colleague said, to get cooperation from CSX to really work with us on that, so I'll continue to focus on that. In fact, in the town of Ulster last year, a constituent of mine was struck and killed by a CSX train due to a lack of any pedestrian crossing signage. So I want to work in good faith in a bipartisan way to figure out how to address things like this. In an encouraging sign, and you mentioned this in your testimony, Mr. Jeffries, your written testimony, the city of Port Jervis, also in my district, just received one of the Railroad Crossing Elimination RCE grants, thanks to funding from the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. This was another very problematic intersection where a few years ago someone was struck and killed, and this funding will be a game changer to help address that. My first question is to you, Mr. Jeffries, just to ask, on that point of the RCE grants and other similar grants, can you just talk about the value of that, and would ask your help to work at a local tactical level in a constructive way to speed up all these?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. So pedestrian and motor vehicle accidents at crossings are the toughest safety challenge we continue to face. We've seen dramatic decreases in every other type of accident. And so that starts, first of all, with every opportunity, eliminating the crossing. And so with the grant you referred to, that's huge. And while we wish we had endless sources of funds to separate all high impact crossings, that the reality is we don't. And so secondary, we've got to have the best safety equipment there. Warning devices through the Section 130 program. Driver education, public education through partners such as Operation Lifesaver, who, if you haven't done any work with them, would certainly love to get you involved with that, making the public aware. When you see tracks, think trains. It's a common sense statement, but not something that's always reality. And I would love to work with you in your office to continue, one, to prioritize the two programs I mentioned, and two, look for ways to further educate the public and get that out there, because it is an immensely avoidable tragedy that happens too often, and something that we're invested in making further progress on.
No, I appreciate that. And I think as we enter this new administration and the new moment we're in, I think it's very important to note grants like the RCE grants and other life-saving funding in the bipartisan infrastructure law should not be politicized. And I hope, and many of you said this in both your spoken testimony and written, that we can at least agree that maintaining, if not bolstering funding to those programs benefits everyone, including the industry, so that they're not having to invest fully on their own in that regard. I'm an Irish Catholic guy, so I'm going to do my best with your name, sir. I know, I apologize. Mr. Deloisio, is that okay?
No, that was pretty good. Yeah.
All right. I apologize. In terms of your membership and yourself and your experience, what are the challenges that you all have faced in actually installing and driving through projects? Say we have funding, how do we drive through? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm over, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I got too excited. I'm going to have to yield back, and would love to follow up with all of you on follow-up questions.
No, I appreciate that, and please feel free, afterwards I'll give you my information. I'm happy to talk to you. We're actually neighbors. I live in northern New Jersey, so I'm not far from here.
I'm sorry to hear you're from New Jersey.
Yeah, I know.